Lily's family moved into the old house on Holloway Street just before autumn. The air smelled of burning leaves and the days were getting shorter. Something about the house unsettled her, though she couldn't quite say why. The wooden floors creaked beneath her feet, the walls groaned in the wind, and the upstairs always felt a little too cold, even when the heat was on. But what truly disturbed her was the window. Every night, just before bed, Lily would glance outside, and every night she saw it. A doll. It sat perfectly still in the upstairs window of the abandoned house across the street. Its porcelain face was eerily pale, its wide glass eyes unblinking. Dressed in a faded blue dress, it never moved. It never fell, it never changed. It simply sat there, staring directly into Lily's bedroom window. At first she thought it was a forgotten toy, left behind by the previous owners, but as the days passed it became impossible to ignore. Every evening at dusk, when the streetlights flickered on, Lily would check, and without fail, the doll was there. After a week she mentioned it to her parents. "Lily, across the street, that doll, it's always there, watching." Her mom frowned and peered outside. "Mom, I don't see anything, sweetheart." Her dad squinted. "Dad, the house has been empty for years. Maybe it's just a shadow." Lily's stomach twisted. She looked again. The doll was still there. It hadn't moved an inch. That night, sleep was hard to find. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it. Those glassy eyes locked onto her. She turned over, pulling the blanket up to her chin. That's when she heard it. A tap at the window. Her breath hitched. She stayed frozen, staring at the ceiling, her heart hammering against her ribs. Tap, tap, tap. Slowly she turned her head. The doll was gone from the window across the street. For the first time in days, the second-story window was empty. A chill ran down her spine. Then she looked at her own window. Something was there. She couldn't move, couldn't scream. Just outside the glass, barely visible in the dim streetlight, was a tiny handprint. She shut her eyes tight and told herself it wasn't real, that she was dreaming. When she finally forced herself to look again, the handprint was gone. The doll was nowhere to be seen. The next evening, as the sun dipped below the rooftops, Lily stood at her window staring at the empty house. The doll wasn't there. She should have felt relieved. Instead, a deep, gnawing dread settled in her stomach. Maybe it was over. But then something moved in her peripheral vision, a shadow, small, wrong. The hair on her arm stood on end as she slowly turned toward her closet. The door was open. Inside, sitting perfectly still on the highest shelf, was the doll, its porcelain lips curled ever so slightly. She clapped a hand over her mouth to keep from screaming. Trembling, she backed away, heart hammering against her ribs. A whisper, soft as breath, brushed against her ear. "Found you!" The lights flickered, the closet door creaked open wider, and the doll blinked. By morning, Lily was gone. The bed was untouched, the window left open, the air unnaturally cold. Her parents searched, the police investigated, but no sign of her was ever found. And that night, as the sun set over Holloway Street, a new family moved in across the road. In the upstairs window of Lily's abandoned house, a single porcelain doll sat perfectly still. Watching, waiting. Please like and subscribe for more scary stories in longer format.